Kind of by definition will be the most advanced submarine in the world.
In January, we gave you an exclusive look at the USS Minnesota submarine as it was being built at a shipyard in Virginia. Later this week, the U.S. Navy will commission the sub, making it an official part of the fleet. Now, for the first time, we can take you inside.
Our Mark Albert and photojournalist Chad Nelson were the only Minnesota media allowed on board the sub as it headed out to sea.
Prepare to dive.
America's newest weapon in the water
All vents shut.
is stealth, silent,
Dive.
and submerged off the eastern shore.
Depth, surface 800 feet, max speed 25 knots.
It's a fast attack nuclear submarine that can go 80 stories deep or more and then shoot up at a 27-degree angle to pounce undetected.
Tech center, torpedo room, normal launch, 2-3.
It's called the USS Minnesota, a Virginia-class sub finally plying the waters after 5 years of construction.
We get dolphins out in front of us all the time, and it's just, beautiful days like this.
John Fancher, married to an Edina High School grad, is the captain.
You know, we got the Bahamas a little bit off to the right.
It's his first command. What goes through your mind when you take this submarine out to sea?
There's obviously a little bit of stress. That stress level is going down slowly.
We met the sub for our 2-day visit shortly after sunrise on a hot, muggy day in Cocoa Beach, Florida, earlier this month. Escorted by 2 armed Navy tugboats, the $2 billion, 7,800-ton submarine slowly pulled into port after 3 months of testing. It's 17 feet longer than a football field.
Heads up.
The only way on board for visitors is to climb down the hatch, one rung at a time, as we did, with our camera lowered by rope.
Welcome all of our visitors on board the Navy's newest submarine.
We got media from KSTP.
Inside the sub, the 3 main decks are small, tight, narrow, and home to 135 sailors for months at a time.
You definitely miss the sun. It gets kind of monotonous. The days kind of roll by because it's the same thing each day.
Ted Collette of Duluth is a nuclear mechanic on board.
Okay.
Restricted to 3 hours a day near the reactor, which supplies the steam needed to power the sub.
Make the water, compress the air, and keep us cool.
In fact, it's so well air-conditioned, some of the all-male crew wear fleeces or jackets as they work in 3 8-hour shifts. Tennis shoes are the footwear of choice. When it comes to sleeping, some enlisted men alternate using the same bed because there isn't room for more. Inside, the rack is only 18 inches high. They're even nicknamed coffins. Just 4 enlisted bathrooms are equally modest.
Space on board a submarine is obviously at a premium. This is the torpedo room, but it's also a sleeping area for 24 guys. And then around the corner, instead of torpedoes, it's the sub's gym.
In such a confined area, guys grab whatever space they can to catch a moment by themselves, reading or doing laundry.
I think it'll take me a few hours.
Feeding people constantly throughout the day because there's always people awake on the submarine.
Most of the crew eats in the mess hall right off Minnesota Twins Avenue and Wild Way. The Minnesota memorabilia reminds the 4 natives on board, including White Bear Lake High School grad Tony Finley, of home.
It really made me feel good and made me feel proud to be from Minnesota. Could use a little bit more. If there's something you can spare, please.
Anticipated detection ranges.
Like its namesake, the sub is innovative. There's no longer a traditional periscope on top. Video images are now carried on fiber optic wires.
It's controlled with the joystick.
Allowing the control room to move a deck lower to a wider space.
Open the door to 1, clear.
Also new, the torpedo room can be transformed into a holding area for special forces with a unique airlock.
So this is where the torpedo goes?
Yes, sir.
And then the other side of that door is the ocean?
Yes, sir.
As in the past, though, the sub can still carry torpedoes for self-defense or Tomahawk missiles for land attack.
The submarine force has not shot a torpedo in an active war since World War II. And that actually sends that to the thermometer.
The sub will soon be outfitted with even more advanced electronics.
I will call you guys when we get full.
But it's the old-fashioned plaque in the mess hall that may mean the most to the Minnesotans and everyone else on board. It lists the names of the sub's inaugural crew, the so-called plank owners.
It'll always be meaningful to me that knowing that my name is always on this boat.
But it means that I have a personal stake in this ship and take that pride with me.
A legacy of pride for the crew and the North Star State. On the USS Minnesota in the Atlantic Ocean, Mark Albert, 5 Eyewitness News.
We are proud of them. The USS Minnesota will be commissioned this Saturday in Virginia. The next submarine being built also has Midwest ties. It will be called the USS North Dakota. Right now online, you can learn more about the sub, watch extended interviews, and a slideshow inside the sub. It is all at KSTP.com.
What an interesting story.